Hello! Hopefully I am live, because I just tried to set up the stream, and I don't know what happened. I streamed for 11 seconds, and then it all went to hell, and I didn't know I was streaming, so I was just sat here going, waiting for something to happen. But how the devil are you? It's been a very long time. I need to tweet out the link to this stream, which I'm going to do right now. Right now. Share it on the Discord. Wonder if I have to go back and delete that stream, the fake stream, which was not meant to happen. Does that one show up? Can anyone let me know? Is there now like a 15-second stream on my account that I need to get rid of? I'll tweet out the link too. Let people know that I'm back. I'm back, by the way, with my terrible quarantine haircut. And I just want to acknowledge it now. I have like 2 really big zits on my forehead, right close to the camera, so that everyone's gonna see my bad hair and my bad zitty forehead. Unfortunately, for the whole time, shoved right into the camera lens. But I already made the thumbnail with my face in it. I considered not being on camera, but I already made a thumbnail, so I'm gonna stick with the thumbnail. All right, just tweeting a link out. Guys, do not worry if you don't catch this live. I'm sure some people will find it and go like, ugh, he didn't announce he was going to do it and I missed it. I'll be back. I'll be back again. This is not going to be the last time, okay? Oh, the short stream is there. That's not good. Let me fix that real quick, guys. Real quick. I'm just going to go and fix my fucking mess of a stream that I didn't mean to share with you all. And when that is deleted, I will get to work on what we're going to be working on. Let me see. Go to YouTube Studio, and then I can delete this stupid stream that I don't want to have on my account. All right, let me see. Got to go to the live. They list your live videos and your uploads separately. Let me see. Oh yeah, there we go. There it is. Okay. Can delete that, I guess. Can delete that somehow. Delete forever. YouTube specifies you have to know you're deleting things forever. There we go. Alright, that stupid 15-second stream of me sitting gormlessly at my computer has now gone. And I can get on with some proper work. Hello everyone, how are you all doing today? Hope we're good. I'm sorry about A, my bad quarantine hair, B, my face in general, and the backdrop behind me. That's actually my recording setup. That's why I've got blankets hung and draped so I can do voice acting, and it's very, very ugly, but it's no uglier than what's happening here in the foreground. So today we're going to try and do a ton of frames. I have this slow motion shot of the creature like flying through the air here with all of its teeth missing, and the green and blue lines are for color separation, meaning that's where I'm going to put shading, or like differently shaded parts of the creature, like its belly is going to be a bit paler than the rest of it. The spit is going to be a different color to the tongue. You get the idea. And I'm going to be filling in some of these in-betweens here. This is a 36 frame shot, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 frames done. 8 out of 36, which is not going to be good enough. I could probably crap out at like 30 and the shot would still work, but I've got to do a lot of in-betweening and drawing today, so I don't think I'll do all 28 remaining frames today. There's no way I can do it, but we're going to try and do a ton of frames. We're going to try and do like, I would be so happy if I could do like 10 frames on one live stream and answer a couple of your questions and say hi. That would be fun, right? Be kind of fun. By the way, I'm sorry, I have my AC unit on today. It's probably kicking out a lot of noise, but summer's coming and I'm getting hot in here, so I gotta have that on, I'm afraid. All right, let me see if there are any questions you guys can shoot my way, I can try tackling them for you while I work. I'm going to come in now and do some color separations on this bad boy. And you can see here, I'm just going to be in-betweening. It's kind of simple work at this point. I've done all the keyframes, and because it's a slow motion shot, it's basically going to be not a lot of movement anyway, because, you know, the character is moving slowly, meaning there's a lot of drawings, a lot of frames, but the actual kind of motion is limited by the speed at which the character is moving. Yeah, you get the idea. You know what I'm talking about. You understand. You know what I'm getting at. So, let me see if there are any questions. He looks like he's in bad shape. Bowser the dog. I think you're talking about the monster, right? You're not talking about me. Although, I've got to be honest, I've definitely gained some poundage over the quarantine. Poundage is a horrible word. Anyone that adds, like, edge to the end of anything, like, oh, wow, some major foodage, some poundage. It's actually a really unappealing way of talking. But, yeah, I'm definitely in bad shape. But so is this guy. And I think this is the guy you're talking about. Yeah, he's in bad shape right now. He's like me. Thank you for everyone who came by today. I really appreciate it, by the way. Thank you. I know I don't live stream hardly ever. I've not really been using this channel very much. I had the fantastic Shot Blast episodes edited by Gregor, who is in the chat. And I hope you liked those, and I'm sure there'll be more of those in the future, but they take a lot of time and effort to do, probably more than you would think, and I'm just concentrating on getting this cartoon finished, and when it's finished, I'll be returning to maybe making some stuff that is a little bit less intense. This is taking up sort of 100% of my energy right now, just getting this thing done, so really, really busy right now trying to get this thing out of the door, and let me see. Wow, the comments are kind of going too fast for me to catch up. No change in lifestyle with the lockdown, Mrs. Major Cinephile. Yeah, I've had a change. I can't go to the gym anymore. They closed all the gyms. That was a pretty big change. That was the one thing keeping me kind of relatively fit. And I don't like that. I can't do that anymore. It's a bummer, but I mean, they'll reopen eventually. I think in the next maybe 3, 4, 5 months, maybe. I've been working out at home, but it's not the same thing. Physically getting to the gym was my workout. That's how unfit I am. Like, just walking to the gym in the morning was like, that was part of the reason I would go. And yes, technically you can still take walks, but it's tough. Like, unless I actually have a thing to go and do, I don't really like walking. I don't like walking for the sake of walking. I like to have a destiny and a purpose, and I don't really just like being out in nature, because I tend to get pretty bad allergies, so... Can you say bruh? Yeah, I can say bruh. There you go. Okay. When is the next Shot Blast? Asks Chimera Animations. Chimera Animations. I don't know. Probably not until this cartoon is done. I don't think there's any reason to do another one based on this cartoon. You can see after we did episode 1, you can kind of see the views dip pretty quickly, and I could have kept promoting them, but I think that the problem is you're not really seeing anything new. If I put out a cartoon and I put out a Shot Blast and then put out another Shot Blast about the same cartoon, you're kind of already seeing the same thing over and over, which is me drawing the same characters in the same environments in the same style. So I had some thoughts about maybe doing like what we did with episode 1, which was not actually having a cartoon necessarily in play at the time, but just doing like a random shot. Like, why don't I maybe do some cartoon characters or some video game characters that I actually like? I could do a random Shot Blast just with them, you know, running around or doing something cool. That could be fun. I could do, you know, some sort of tributes to things that I like without having to do the whole cartoon, you know, with like dozens of shots or, you know, a couple of minutes of animation. You could just pick one moment or one character and do a little one-off shot, make that a shot blast. That actually may be more of a way of giving people variety that they can come back and watch, rather than just, you know, give people like 12 episodes based on one cartoon, because it takes me months and months and months and months to make a cartoon. This one's taken over a year to do. So if I'd have done a shot blast every week, you would have had, you know, like 70-something shot blasts of the same cartoon, and you would have gotten very bored very quickly, I think. Or not. Maybe you're hungry for content. Maybe you would have watched them. But generally, you know, I didn't hype the hell out of them, but those episodes we've done already didn't get, you know, a ton of viewership, and I think a change in tactic is probably gonna help with that. So, alrighty, let's get that blue belly in here. Now, of course, these green and blue lines will not be in the finished cartoon. These are just to help guide me to do the shading and the different colored areas, you know. Alright, well, that's one done. And let's do another one here. So, I mean, basically, this is it. I just want you to be on the level. I'm just going to be doing this over and over again. I'm going to be drawing a ton of frames, as the title explicitly states. A ton of frames to get through this today. Let's see, maybe if I can do 10 on live stream, I'll be very happy. But this is a 36 frame shot, and we've only done, like, what, 8 so far? So, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. And I can sort of, you know, give me some fodder to work with. Don Neff says exercise makes you feel good overall. I agree, Don Neff. I still don't know how to say the username RHBES, but those guys are amazing. They do the Heavy Metal Batman cartoons. Did you hear about Space Jam? What do you think about it as a fan? Space Jam 2, I don't really know anything about it. Is it happening? I heard it was going ahead with LeBron James. I'm not a basketball guy, so I don't know my basketball players very well. But I mean, I heard it was going ahead. Is it cancelled? Does it stop moving? You have to fill me in there. But I mean, I would watch it for sure. I hope they would keep it, you know, kind of in the spirit of the first one. And I know the first one is just basically trash. I'm you know, I like it on that ironic level, but I know it's just basically a big cash grab. But I still find some enjoyment in it. I hope the visuals would be similar. I hope they'd have that old school style animation. And I don't know anything about LeBron James, but I hope he would have that kind of wholesome side to him that Michael Jordan had. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know. I do enjoy the film. And I haven't heard any news about it. The acting in Space Jam is so bad. It's funny, as a kid I didn't pick up on that. Watching it now, I can kind of tell you, like, yeah, Michael Jordan's not really a very good actor. You know, and he doesn't need to be. He's a pretty good athlete. He's a pretty good basketball player. Some people say he's better than me, even. But he doesn't need to be a fantastic actor. And I think it works, you know. It's got enough going for it with the animation. Can still kind of enjoy Space Jam. Everybody get up, it's time to slam now. We got a real thing going now. I used to be into basketball very briefly. I mean, I didn't watch any games or anything, but because of that movie. So I probably about 10 when it came out. When did it come out? 96, 97? I would have been maybe 8 or 9 actually. And I remember I started drawing characters in basketball jerseys and cartoon characters playing basketball, you know, because I liked the movie. And I remember a friend of mine said, Harry, you're only drawing that because of Space Jam. And I said, no. Like, I tried to pass off like that wasn't the case. I was like, no, I always liked basketball. I love basketball. No, that was not true. I only liked it because of the movie Space Jam. Although I did play it in school when I was about 13, but, you know, didn't really stick at it because I'm a diminutive 6 foot tall gentleman, and I don't think the basketball playing was in my future. Not that height held me back. I think it was a lack of just general sporting ability was what held me back, and a lack of interest too. I only did it because it was kind of a way to pass the time. What else do you do in a lunch break at school? How can you give it a sequel, though? Like, do they just do basketball again? Asks Mool. Well, I guess you'd bring back maybe you'd bring back what's his name? Swackhammer? Have him come back, and maybe there's a clause in the contract. Did they sign a contract? Maybe they didn't. I'd maybe bring him or the Monstars back, although I guess they want new villains probably. I don't know, it's gonna be like Swackhammer's brother or something. Like if you ever watched The Little Mermaid 2, and they literally have at the beginning, they have Ursula's crazy sister, and then Sebastian the Crab shouts out, he's like, "Oh no, it's Ursula's crazy sister!" And it's just, that's the plot, is that she has an evil sister, and this evil sister, I can't remember if she wants revenge on Triton or something. And it's just the same thing again, but without the, you know, without the singing. I think it's Ariel's daughter wants to turn into like a human this time or something. Or no, wait, it's Ariel's human daughter wants to become a mermaid. I think that's what happens, and she gets turned into a mermaid by Ursula's crazy sister. Yeah. I've not seen the third Little Mermaid film, but that one actually looks a lot better. I've not watched it, but I mean, it's on Disney Plus, so I'm sure if I wanted to, I could. Do you like cricket? No, I do not care for cricket. Sorry. Do you deserve mod? Not sure what you mean by that, Mool. Do I deserve mods? I think I do. I think I've earned some mods. Not that there's like very much point in mods. I don't think we've had too much happening on these live streams that really necessitate mods, but you know, they're there in case you need them. It's like Batman, you know, having the bat boat or whatever. He probably doesn't use it that often, but it's, you know, it's good to know that the bat boat is there in case there's any, you know, crimes happening on Gotham's waterfront. And doesn't Batman have a giant penny too? Every time I see sort of a schematic of the Batcave from the old comic books, he has like a giant, maybe it's like a Two-Face thing, but it's a giant coin and a big T-Rex. It's a, look, if you look it up, you'll know what I mean. To type in Batcave giant coin. Batman has a giant coin that he keeps in his Batcave, and I don't know why. I don't know why he needs that. I don't know when that would come in handy. In case, I guess, if the Joker traps Vicky Vale in a giant vending machine, and Batman needs a giant quarter, he could go and, you know, he could free her by using the bat wing or whatever to drop a giant quarter in a giant vending machine. I guess that would pay off. So, here we are now. Drawing our in-betweens, boy. Boy, it sure is a fun life. Drawing these in-betweens. Oh boy. Okay. Does that look alright? Yeah, that does the job. That does the job. Let me see. He still wrote off the bat boat on his taxes. I don't think Bruce Wayne can write off any bat-related purchases on his taxes unless he kind of does it through Wayne Industries or whatever, because wouldn't it show off what he was doing if he claimed bat boat $50 million and they go, his accountant says, Mr. Wayne, what is this bat boat that I see here on your claims form? I watched all 4 Batman. That's where I got Batman on the brain, by the way. I watched all 4 of the Schumacher, Burton era Batman films recently, and I gotta say, man, I love that first one. I really love the first Burton film. And actually watching it again, I still don't love Batman Returns, but I don't mind Batman Forever. I always knew it as kind of the lesser of the two evils, you know? I don't know if I like Batman Forever better than Batman wait. I don't know if Batman Forever is better than Batman Returns. Kind of, they both have problems. Like, I think Batman Returns is kind of just leaves me like I feel I need to shower. It's sort of gross feeling. But Batman Forever also has those cartoonish visuals and that terrible fucking performance by Tommy Lee Jones as the Joker Part 2. I don't know why he was trying to out Jim Carrey. It seems like a really good idea to have a goofy villain and a serious villain have to team up, but he doesn't play Two-Face serious. He plays him like another Riddler or another Joker. And it's a shame, right? Because you think Tommy Lee Jones could probably do a pretty good, serious, grizzled Harvey Two-Face, but he's like, just plays, the whole time he's just laughing and, you know, he just cackles like a fucking idiot. But I watched Batman and Robin again for my sins, and that is still a big piece of crap, unfortunately. Are they better than the Tim Burton? No, generally the Tim Burton films are better. I love the first Tim Burton film. It's one of my favorite films of all time, so. Mool says, what's your favorite piece of animation? One thing that comes to mind, because I was thinking about it the other day, is a bit in Hercules when, it's like towards the end of the movie when Hades he's like pitches the whole thing to Hercules, the plan at the end of the film, and he needs Hercules basically to, I can't remember, like sign a contract to give Hades his soul or something, but he needs him to do it really soon. And like Hercules is like pacing back and forth and thinking about it, and I can't really do it, but like Hades goes like, okay, I don't have like time, and he just like his hand shakes where he's like, I don't have like time. He's trying to remain composed, I guess, but he just loses it, and he's holding his hand out to like shake on the deal, and then finally he just fucking loses it and just goes, I don't have like time. I really like that bit, and it always makes me laugh. It's a simple little moment, but it's a really funny moment. It's a good character moment. I know it's like a little one. You probably meant like some grandiose thing, like a chase scene from Akira, but I like that bit from Hercules. And I don't know who animated it. Some people are really good with finding out who actually animated things. I think I once tweeted out about that scene, and I falsely accredited it to Nick Ranieri, and someone chewed me out over it. So I don't actually know who animated it. I mean, you could find out, but, you know, I'm lazy. What are you gonna do? I'm really big and lazy, so I didn't bother. Great. I like that too, that your question was, what's your favorite piece of animation not of your own? Like I would list one of my own. Like, it's probably something that I did, to be honest. It wouldn't be that. Hey, Melody Dickens. Yeah, guys, I'm using a Wacom Cintiq. Wacom, Waco. I'm the Waco kid. Yeah, using a Wacom Cintiq 22 HD, baby. 22 HD. All right. Okay, that's looking good. And I've been listening to the Batman soundtracks lately too. Not the amazing Danny Elfman or Elliot Goldenthal music. I mean just the music they released for the film, like the pop songs and stuff, like U2. The U2 song's really good. And I like the Smashing Pumpkins one that came out, Batman and Robin. Those movies had some really fucking cool music. And then the soundtrack, the actual score, was really good too. So I love those Batman movies. Fuck it, even Batman and Robin still kind of okay in places. Not really. Actually, no, I do hate that film. The first three, they all have something about them I love. Love the first one. Batman Returns still looks cool, even though it's kind of disgusting in places and dark, and Batman's barely in it. Batman Forever, I probably prefer to Batman Returns. I know that's sacrilegious to say it, but it just has a bit more of a story, and I like Jim Carrey as the Riddler, and yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright, I'll get off Batman now. Talk about something else that's not Batman, if I can manage it, because I do like Batman. Look at my terrible hair. This is hair that needs to get cut. That's some quarantine hair, boy. Have you seen the leaked documentary Sweatbox? I have seen it. That was directed by Sting's wife, right? the victim of much of his tantric sex experimentation. Yeah, I've seen that. It's about the making of Emperor's New Groove. And it's funny how I think what happened was Sting got tasked with writing the music for Emperor's New Groove, and his wife made a documentary about the film in general, but because it's through the Sting's wife lens, it mostly spends time with him, talking about kind of his process and the process of going back and forth and changing things. And to my knowledge, Disney didn't allow it to be released, although I think you maybe can get it now pretty easily. I don't know if it's actually for sale or not, but yeah, it did. You can watch it. It's called The Sweatbox. And, you know, the funny thing is, I watched it and I really didn't think it was very damning. Like, making movies is really, really hard, and a lot of hard decisions have to be made along the way. Things get made and then cut out, egos get hurt, relationships, professionally speaking, can be, you know, wounded in the process. And I felt like by sort of not sanctioning it or by not releasing it, it felt like Disney were trying to hide that. And I watched it and I couldn't get over how, well, yeah, of course this is what it's like. You know, anybody that thinks it's all just fun and games for 4 years, making an animated film with a huge multi-million-dollar budget and all of these producer meetings and all these deadlines, anyone that thinks that's going to be fun the whole time, I think he's living in a dream world. And it bums me out, actually, because you know we're never going to see the truth behind the new Disney Star Wars movies. You know those were a shit show behind the scenes. Like the last one, what was it called? Rise of Skywalker? You know that one had tons of changes made. I mean, this is out there. This is confirmed. They had all the stuff they shot with Doctor Who, Matt something, the guy with the big head, the Matt guy. You know, Matty Bighead. The Doctor Who dude was going to be in it, and all of his scenes got cut. All this stuff where they were going to have Hayden Christensen turn up at the end, all that got cut. He wasn't happy about that. They had all these plans that didn't come to fruition, and okay, I didn't like the film, but I would love to see that story. You know, I'd love to hear about the making of the film and why these decisions got made. I mean, ultimately, you know, it's for money reasons, like, or they don't, you know, they don't think the audience are going to respond to it well enough. But I want to see those people react to those decisions. But you're never going to get to see that, because all the Disney making ofs that you get to see these days are like everyone's just slapping each other on the back. They're like, yeah, it was so great to work with these people, they're so amazing. And I just want to say, fuck off. I know you people didn't get on 100% of the time. That's just the reality of making films. There's nothing shameful about it. You get a bunch of crazily driven, egomaniacal people together and give them, you know, a massive job like making a big blockbuster movie. There's going to be tensions. That's okay. Doesn't mean they're bad people, but Disney, I think, want to create that illusion of everyone just having a great time and everyone getting on. And it's like, don't do that. Give me the truth. I want the ugly truth. I don't want a beautiful lie. So yeah, I think the Sweatbox should have been released, and I want to see all their making ofs. I want to see people break. I mean, if you watch, like, you know, the making of the first one, the episode 1, if you watch the making of on that, you can see there's some bruised egos at points. There's the time where the set blows away, the like the Mos Espa or Mos Eisley set, the Tatooine set gets destroyed in a sandstorm and everyone's freaking out about it. Now granted, they probably would show that in a Disney documentary because it's not like, it's like, you know, an act of God at that point. But I think that there are, you know, some good documentaries out there that show you the reality of filmmaking. And I enjoy them much more than the sanitized, you know, everyone's getting on just fine, hunky-dory, look at us, we're all best pals picture that I think a corporation like Disney would like to put out there. Anyway, I'll get off that now, but that's my rant over. I heard that they're going to release the Snyder Cut of Justice League, says Gregor. Yeah, but are they? I don't think they actually are going to release... Because the whole thing with the Snyder thing was they were going to make Justice League 2 movies. It was going to be part 1 and part 2. And then, you know, he left the project, and then they decided to bring in Joss Whedon, but also make the movie one movie. Make 2 movies, 1 movie. So not only did he shoot a bunch of new footage, but they also changed their whole plan. So I don't think, and people say a Snyder Cut exists, I don't think it can exist based on that. You know, it would be half a movie, wouldn't it? Or it would be part 1. And they say they're going to drop $20 million on it, but that doesn't mean they're going to bring back Ben Affleck to record new lines or record new footage even, and I don't think that would give them a big budget to do VFX. $20 million is a lot of money, but you can't make, you know, half a Hollywood movie for that. You can't make half a Justice League movie for that much, and let alone with all those big stars like Ben Affleck and stuff. I just don't think... I think that maybe what would have been a better idea is to finish the movie as like a motion comic and make like a really high-end, like a really beautiful motion comic. Do it in black and white maybe, have great, you know, 3D camera moves, really high-quality comic book art, and say this is the Zack Snyder vision of Justice League. Call it like Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 1 and then Part 2. You could do Part 2 too. Maybe you could get them back to voice their roles, though I doubt that. Just get sound-alikes. I think that would have been the best way to do it, but what do I know? I don't believe that they're really going to put out what would have been his vision of the film. I think it'll be something that has some of his thumbprints on it, but is still kind of cobbled together from footage they already shot before he left the project. And maybe even some of the Joss Whedon footage too, because maybe that's all they have. I'm sure there were scenes they planned on shooting that he went ahead to shoot. Even if he gave it kind of a lighter tone, it may be needed to cobble together the Zack Snyder cut of the movie. Yeah. What if Disney sabotaged their last set of hand-drawn animated films on purpose so that 3D animation could be king? I don't know about that, Don. I reckon that would be mad, because I think they want to make money, and if they think that audiences would want a 2D movie, they wouldn't sabotage it. They would make it and put it out if they thought it would make money. I think that they just came to the realization that people didn't really want 2D anymore. And, you know, there's probably some truth to that. I do think that generally young kids today think that, you know, Frozen looks more beautiful than, say, Alice in Wonderland. And that's what the masses want. And I know animators feel differently about it, but the majority of people are not animators. The majority of people have no interest really in animation. They just want to look at something that's beautiful. And the fact is, you can get more colors, more tones, more complexity in a high resolution 3D animated film than you can get in a hand-drawn 2D animated film. And I think that's why they've transitioned into that direction. Plus, you know, it's down to the fact that when Toy Story came out, it was a big hit, and it pushed boundaries in a way that maybe the 2D films at the time weren't. And I think 2D just became synonymous with old-fashioned. 3D became synonymous with new, even though it's just a medium. It doesn't have to be, you know, pushing the envelope in regards to story. It just happened to be that's, you know, how they made that movie. They made that transition. So it's ended up with a lot of had a lot of goodwill towards it. And yeah. I don't think it's the filmmaker's faults, and I don't think it's the audience's fault. I think it's all a combination of things. And people get enamored with the new and with beauty, and I understand that. I don't really think that 3D is more beautiful than 2D, but that's my bias, and I don't think it's a bias that a lot of people share. I think that generally, most general audiences now prefer 3D. But, you know, maybe one day that'll change. I think you'll see a transition towards more stylized 3D, like you'll get more Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse type movies where it's technically 3D, but they're doing stuff where it looks a little more hand-drawn or a little more like stop motion. And I'd like to see that more and more. And I think games will do the same thing. Because I don't know what, in maybe 10 years from now, 15 years, we'll get games that really look photorealistic. We're still not there. I would think in 20 years it will be pretty much getting there, you know, in terms of realism. And it's like, you know, when people invented the camera, being able to paint a bowl of fruit that looks completely 100% realistic suddenly becomes boring to people, because it's like, well, now anybody can create that still life image. What do you got that's different? You get Picasso, you get, you know, Impressionism and Cubism and stuff like that. So I think that'll happen in 3D once we hit the 3D photorealism that's really photoreal, because we're still not there. I think you'll get more of that abstract stuff that actually looks hand-drawn. I think eventually they'll make 3D films that look like 2D hand-drawn films, and you can't tell the difference. So there'll be no reason to really have that conversation anymore. It'll just be animation, you know? Oh boy. All right. Oh, let's have a stretch. Man, I slept with my neck at like a 90-degree angle last night. Like a moron. Slept with my head vertically against a wall. And it's been hurting all day. Hey, Fakanza, thank you for coming by. Yeah. Studio Ghibli films are gorgeous. I guess. My mum, like when I was staying with her Christmas or something a while ago, there was, I think it was Spirited Away was going to be on TV, and she'd read on the TV planner thing, you know, groundbreaking, beautiful, award-winning animation. And I remember she turned it on and she went, ooh, I don't think it's anything special. Now, granted, my mum is not a lover of animation. Also, she doesn't sound like that. She didn't go, oh, it's nothing special. My mum isn't some, like, old aristocratic lady. But she said she basically didn't think anything of it. And I kind of get it. You know, it's not... She is what we would call a general audience member when it comes to animation. She probably would think that Frozen looks more beautiful than Spirited Away. And you can disagree with that, and I'm sure a lot of you do. But the fact of the matter is, she's probably a better barometer of what casual animation fans, general audiences would like, than nerds like us that like animation. So I think Disney or someone like that is going to have to take into account more of those kind of opinions when it comes to their massively expensive movies. Although I gotta say, like, if you look at the budget for their last animated movie, which was the 2011 Winnie the Pooh. Yes, 2011 Winnie the Pooh. The budget, I think, for that was 30 million. That is not a big budget for Disney. Like, they put out a lot of movies, and I would think that if that only cost 30 million, they could keep making traditionally animated movies for 60 million and putting them out there. I mean, if something like Frozen's making 2 billion or whatever it was, 1 billion, I would think they could find it in their budget to squeeze out a couple of little $60 million 2D movies, but I don't know. I'm not, you know, maybe there's so much overhead they really need to make things that make money. There's a lot of people to pay in that company. There's a lot of big bonuses going on, I'm sure, too, so it's a shame, though. I would like it if they would throw some budgets at some traditional animators and make some stuff that felt a little more like their heritage, because I think that, you know, even though they're primarily all about making money, well, they're a business, they're a corporation, they're all about making money. I feel like respecting your heritage, especially when it's so emotionally resonant with people, would be something they should continue to do. I think, you know, and I think the Swan Princess and Winnie the Pooh probably weren't necessarily surefire hits. Had they taken the script for Frozen, and I don't think that Frozen's a better script. Maybe Tangled. Maybe if they took the script to Tangled and they'd done it 2D in 2009, it would have been a hit. Bigger than the Swan Princess, bigger than Winnie the Pooh. But they didn't do that. Tangled was 3D, and we got Swan Princess and Home on the Range. I briefly had 2 copies of Home on the Range on Blu-ray. I think I'm probably the only person on the planet that would have that. I don't know why. I think I bought it twice by mistake. You don't even need to buy it once. It's pretty bad. I don't think it's bad, actually. I think it's baffling as to why that film got made. You look at it and you think, why this movie? Why did you spend all this money on this idea? And I'm not one of those people that think animated movies should all be the same. You know, evidently, like, I like animation for adults and dark animation and stuff like that. But I would just think at that point where 2D is starting to lose ground to 3D in a big bad way, back in, what, 2004 or whenever that film came out, I would think there'd be a really good argument for, yeah, let's just do a dumb princess movie again. Again, like, take the script to Tangled and do that in 2004. I gotta say, they made some strange decisions back in there. In the kind of twilight years of Disney doing 2D animated movies, I'm surprised they greenlit some of the movies they did. I would just think they would make some dumber corporate decisions, dumb in the way of, like, more obvious. Like, just do a princess movie again. Because he didn't get one. He got, like, Treasure Planet and Atlantis and Home on the Range and Brother Bear. Like, yeah, those are weird ideas for films. I'm not saying they're bad. I like some of those a lot. I really like Atlantis a lot, and I like Treasure Planet visually a hell of a lot. But like, it's so weird that in that 6-7 movie span, we didn't get a blonde princess movie. You got Enchanted, but that's not really, it doesn't really count because it's not all animation. You forgot about Home on the Range, huh, Gregor? Well, I reminded you of it. There you go. Home on the Range. Yes, it's your homework for tonight. You gotta go watch it now. No, I'm kidding. Don't watch Home on the Range. Ironically, if you did, your parents would probably, ask you to never come home again. Because, they'd kick you out of the house. Mine would. Big time. Oh boy. This is a ton of frames. So much detail. Such a pain in the butt to draw. Oh, I don't like animation. Fuck it, I'm going. Fuck it. Fuck it. I like... Oh shit, I dropped his weapon. I like Sabretooth. Sabretooth from the X-Men. That's what I like. That's what I'm into. I don't want to animate. I'm just going to play with Sabretooth. I'm going to put him up there. Oh! Come on, fucker. Yeah. He's got this weapon. I don't know what it is, but it's like a... I don't know what that is. It's like a weird fork that he holds. Oh, you can't see him. He's up to... Oh, wait, we'll put him down there. There you go. And I'll give him his little... There you go. My little buddy hanging out. Little Sabretooth down there. Is that an Ariel in the background? Oh, the lady with the red hair? That is Janine from Ghostbusters. My good buddy Benjamin Daniel, bought that for me, and it's got Egon underneath. So, I love Ghostbusters, man. I love the movies. Not all the movies. Let's be honest. I love 2/3 of the movies, and I love the cartoon. Half the cartoon, to be honest. I don't like Extreme Ghostbusters very much. It's okay. It's not the worst. Extreme Ghostbusters to me gives me real Men in Black animated vibes. They like those shows really. Maybe they had the same creative team. I actually don't know. I never looked into it, but Extreme Ghostbusters and the Men in Black animated series have like they're very similar animation style, and it's just weird. There's my buddy Phelan reviews the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon. There's a really weird plot point in it that Egon, the Ghostbuster, is now too old to be a Ghostbuster, and he mentions he's 40. It's like, okay, first of all, Harold Ramis was 40 when he played Egon in the movies, the first movie. 40 is not too old to be a Ghostbuster. What do? You maybe occasionally kick over an alleyway like trash can, or you maybe kick through a door. I don't think it's... Yeah, it's a physically demanding job, but I think you can do it at age 40. Maybe 50's pushing it. But they say that he's too old, so he has to get young people to you know, do the Ghostbusting for him, because he's too old at 40. Like, come on, Egon. Maybe he has arthritis or something. Maybe he's got some kind of poisoning from hanging around containment units for the last 10 years or so. But are they also claiming that he was in his 20s back when he was a Ghostbuster? I don't buy that. I think Harold Ramis was 40 when they made the first movie, or, you know, 39. I buy that he was meant to be that age as a character, and I don't think that 40 is too old to be a Ghostbuster. 50, maybe. You don't have many 50-year-old firemen, but I think you could be a fireman at 40. I don't know. I don't know any firemen. I'm going to get off talking about Ghostbusters lore, because no one cares. No one cares. James Rolfe almost got in hot water because of that one. Oh, the 2016 one? It was a piece of shit. That was a terrible film. I don't know why you would get in hot water for saying it looked shitty, because it looked bad, and it was bad. And, I really have nothing else to say about it. I have fond memories of seeing it, because I went to see it at the cinema with my mum. Me and my mum went, and she liked it. I think she likes seeing girls on film, you know, it's like, not in a Duran Duran way. She likes seeing women, you know, empowered, not very physically attractive women on screen. Gave her, I think, good sort of uplifting vibes. But I mean, it was not funny, and you could tell they were ad-libbing a lot of the jokes, and I think it would have benefited from a script and a story. And yeah, it doesn't, you know, it's not dependent on their gender as much as it was just bad. But also, it kind of was weird not seeing any men Ghostbusters. That's weird to me, because I grew up as a little boy loving the hell out of it, and it seems like it was a very odd decision, but obviously a very deliberate decision to give the film a facelift. And I'll be honest, I didn't really want anybody new in that role. I wanted the old guys, wanted the old dudes back, and I don't really care about new Ghostbusters. I don't think I'll like the 2020, well, I guess it'll be released in 2021 now. I don't think I'll like that one either. I love those films. They're very, very important to me, but I don't think seeing new people fulfill those roles is gonna give me a nostalgia trip. Particularly, I think I'm sort of immune to that as I get older. It's enough for me just to like the old traditional movies. Hey, Dos Shuts. Thank you for coming by. And Ashos, I want to check in and see how you're doing. I'm doing good, thank you. Look at that big, giant thumb. I'm really good. Just doing a lot of drawings. Okay, so it's color separation time, baby. Let's get that green. Let's save. How about that? How about that? Let's save. Saving time. Anything cool I can show you? This is cool. I swear to God. I swear I am not a Space Jam mega fan. I know I look like one in my Space Jam shirt. And this guy, look at this guy. That was bought for me by my friend Adam, because I tweeted once that I, as a kid, really, really wanted this. That's Bupkus, the purple monster. And as a kid, I had the orange one, Pound, the red one, Naught. I think that was it. I think I just had the red one and the orange one as a kid. And I always wanted the purple one. I never got the blue one or the green one. And I tweeted out that I always wanted it. And he bought it for me for Christmas. And it's technically been opened. I just put it back in the bubble. And it's like, I loved it, man. I love that he did that for me. It was very, very generous, and it's a cool toy, but I look like the biggest Space Jam fan on the planet, and Space Jam's great, don't get me wrong. It's just funny coincidence, that and the shirt. I just saw that on my shelf. I thought you'd appreciate seeing it. Are you happy you've got it now? Heck yes, Virtual 271. I am very, very happy that I have it now. I would like to finish the collection. I'd like to get the blue guy, Blanco. I know the fucking names. Blanco, and the green one is Bang, I think. So I can also, this is like, as a kid, I wasn't autistic, you know, but I was very, very focused on details growing up, like to crazy amounts. And if I liked a movie, I couldn't just like the movie. I'd need to really live or breathe it. It's probably a good idea that as an adult, I don't really do that anymore. I'm too busy with my own stuff. But I used to really obsess about finding out information about movies, and a lot of that stuff is like baked into my memory, and I can't do anything about it. I got talking to Joyce the other day about Small Soldiers, the 98 movie, and I don't know why we got onto it, but she asked if I remembered all their names. And I definitely remember that every single character name in that movie. It's just like, it's there in my memory, man. You got Alan Abernathy, the kid. I don't know the mum and dad names, but the important characters. With the Gorgonites, which is Archer, Punch It, Slam Fist, Scratch It, Ocular, Insaniac, and Troglodyte, but Troglodyte gets turned into Freakenstein. So I got the Gorgonites. And then the Commando Elite, which was Chip Hazard, Butch Meathook, Nick Nitro, Brick Bazooka, Link Static, and Kip Killigan. And I don't know why that's just never left me, but I was mad on that movie. I was the right age. I was about 11 when that film came out, and I still love Toy Story, and I still love toys, but I wanted a bit more. I wanted a bit more action. I wanted a bit more grit. You know, I was starting to be into things like Blade and, you know, sort of action movies and vampire movies and stuff. And when Small Soldiers hit, I was the perfect age for it, because I was still playing with action figures, but I wanted a bit more threat and a little bit more violence and intimidation in my films. And that movie has that in spades, you know, when they're hunting Alan and like firing those razor blades at him and stuff and trying to kill him, but they're toys. Yeah. Yeah, man. Somebody asked earlier why I'm standing. What do you mean, why am I standing? Who doesn't stand when they're animating? I'm using a standing desk, which is a new thing for me. It's a very new thing. But as you can see, look. There ain't no chair to speak of. I'm standing up, so it's tiring, but it's nice and I like it, and I'm very happy to keep doing it for the time being. Gets the blood flowing in a different way, and it's good. This standing desk was built for me by my stepdad Martin, and getting it delivered. Well, they delivered it. He, you know, quarantining and everything. He drove it up to my house. He left it outside for me, and I came and collected it and carried it upstairs, which was hell. But it's like big sturdy wooden thing. It's really good. I still have my regular desk underneath, so basically it's like two desks stacked on top of each other, and he built me like an extra miniature desk at his house and drove it over. He's, you know, everyone's quarantining, everyone's staying at home, and he's really getting into like DIY home improvement kind of woodworking type stuff. So that was his project, and he said to me, or I mentioned it to him, that I was, you know, thinking about doing a standing desk, and he said, "Oh, I can make you one." And I was like, "Oh, okay, you know, maybe." And he was serious about it, and he went all gung-ho and actually built one, and I'm standing up. Whoa, it's weird. Does the desk lower to become a sitting desk? No, it does not. It means that I have to physically take this thing. I have to take the desk and put it on the floor if I want to sit down and be at my desk. I can sit down, the chair's still here, but it's like I can sit down for a break. I have done that a couple of times because I get tired, you know, but there are some days where I don't want to be sat down, and today was one of them, and I was like, I have got to stand, you know? I feel like I'm melting in my chair. And with quarantine and everything, with there just being generally fewer ways to exercise, I did think this was a good time to be standing. You know, if I'm going to be not going out as much and not burning those few calories by walking places, at the very least my fat butt can be standing instead of sitting. So, you know, he did a very good job. Okay, let me see. I'm sure there's some stuff in the chat that I've been ignoring because I'm a bum. Oh, I didn't draw all the little creases in the mouth. These funny little lines in the mouth here is because his teeth have been knocked out, guys. And he's got little stumps, little, you know, gums, I guess you'd call them. Terranium says, isn't it less efficient to animate while standing because your arms are kind of fibbly-fobbling around without support? No, not really. I mean, like, I've got my desk here, so I'm using one hand to click on the Cintiq, which is normal, and one hand to hold the pencil. I don't need support. I'm like, you know, I'm not holding the Cintiq like a guitar, you know, and playing it standing up. It's on the desk. It's a standing desk. I think it's good, man. I mean, I'm slow right now because I'm doing a live stream to chat with you all, but I don't feel like it really hinders my speed as an animator. Not that my speed could be hindered anymore, the right, guys? Because I take my sweet time, for sure. For sure. Let me see now. We want to do that. Something like that. That's good. That's good. That'll do. You know, you don't want it to be too perfect, you know? Because there's certainly a risk that I run on the regular being just too damn good. No, I'm kidding, of course, but you don't want it to be too good because then it's you're just setting a standard you can't keep up. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, how one of the reasons I'm so slow is I think I try and animate everything at the same quality, you know, and I don't prioritize moments in my animations. Like, let's say I was doing a Starbarians cartoon and you have a big emotional moment between two characters. Let's say Kilgar finds out that Hogstrong is gay or something. He's not, but let's say that happened. He could be. I guess I haven't really gotten to that yet. He'd have to be bi because he's shown like doing women. But let's say that happened. Maybe that you'd want to animate really nicely, but then the scene after of Hogstrong going and getting himself a can of soup, it doesn't. If it does, you know, maybe that's necessary for the story, the soup, so you don't want to cut it. But maybe that doesn't have to be animated all on ones, or it doesn't. You don't need beautiful drawing. It can just be functional and efficient and get the thing across. But I kind of put everything like on the same level when it comes to emphasis, and it's not. You know, it's just a way of slowing yourself down. So I think I should sort of treat every shot like I should ask the question: is this very important to the plot? Does this require good animation, or can this be functional? And I think if every fifth shot is nice looking, I think generally you can get by with giving people that slightly limited stuff the majority of the time, and they still feel that they're getting their money's worth. So it's sad that it's taken me a long time to get to that. And unfortunately on this cartoon I've done the same thing I always do, which is try and treat everything like it's super important. So it's sort of a bit too late because there's really not very much left. I'm actually introducing new shots at this point and sort of shoving stuff in where I think it needs to go. But yeah, I think that's something that I need to learn from in the future. Definitely. Okay. Do I still animate it at 12 frames? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, you're replying to Harry Ashfield. Yeah, I technically am animating at 24 FPS, but I tend to animate on 2s with some 1s thrown in. So it's like 12 FPS, briefly 24 FPS, back to 12. You know, I mix and match all over the place, so you can't. It's a hard question to answer, really. Question, says Harry Ashfield. Oh, sorry, this is the question that you were asking. How many more frames do you do if you're animating a slow motion shot? Well, I'd animate everything on 2s because things tend to be moving slower, so you can get away with 2s, but I wouldn't. I think I'm going to keep the character in constant motion, so yeah. So like, let me see here. Something like this. See, he's like going like that, like he's moving slowly. And I want to have a frame for every single, or I want to have a frame for every other. I want to have a drawing for every other frame of this shot. So it's a lot of drawings because I want the motion to be consistent. But I mean, if the character is moving in slow motion but not moving much, I don't know, slow motion tends to be constant movement. I'm not doing a very good job of answering your question, but yeah, basically I'd animate at a slower frame rate. I would lock it to 12 FPS, meaning, you know, 24 FPS, but one drawing would occupy 2 frames. I'm sorry, I use frame and drawing interchangeably sometimes, and it gets a mad confusing there for a while. I can't kind of keep track of what the hell I'm talking about. I'm confused old prospector. Mining for cents. A similar thing happens when you're writing novel prose. Sometimes there are scenes where that deserve more attention, show don't tell, description and such, and then other times you can say James got some cereal. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. You don't want the scene where James' dad dies. You don't want to be, you know, have the same descriptive sort of verbal flourishes as the scene where, or the chapter where James gets cereal. Totally agree. All right, guys. You know what? I'm gonna take a 2-minute break. No, fuck it. I'll take the break later on. I just want a cup of water, but I got a little bit left. Okay. Hey, Mr. Matamation. I don't think I've said hello to you yet. Thank you for coming by. All right, so we're gonna draw another one of these. So much fun. How many have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. So we're like nearly a third of the way there. Yay. I mean, I'll be doing it quicker if I wasn't talking to you guys, but maybe I wouldn't be having as much fun. Or maybe I would be having a lot of fun. Maybe I would be listening to the Batman soundtrack and going, you know, kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, you know, maybe that I would be having the time of my life. So I don't know for sure. I'm gonna gamble on the fact that I'd probably be having a worse time. You remain light on the dark side of me. My power, my pleasure, my pain. Ooh yeah. I'm on something and a Okay. So once again, the reason I'm drawing so many frames is because it's a slow motion shot. Slow motion's not a very good idea to do in animation because it's a good idea in live action because, you know, 2 seconds of acting can get you 20 seconds of screen time. You can shoot your 5-minute film and, you know, turn it into a feature with enough slow motion, but it's not a good idea in animation because it means that, you know, you're telling 2 seconds of story in 10 seconds and having to animate all of that stuff. But I really wanted a slow-mo shot here, and dagnabbit, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get what I want. Harry, you can really sing. Oh, Don. Thank you very much. Here's that $20 I promised you. When you should be animating, but you're watching someone else do it instead. That's the plan, Dante. Dante. Sorry, I'm not good with like those low A's. I have a friend called Hans, and I always want to call him Hans. Like Hans. Like I call him Han Solo, and I know it's Han Solo. Dante. I'm not good with that. Mario. I'm always calling him Mario. I know it's Mario, but I can't, you know. It's like takes extra effort to go down on the A and say Mario. That's more of an American thing, I think. Mario. I once had to stifle a laugh in public harder than I've ever had to do it before. When I was about 17 years old, I was looking for a summer job. And 18 maybe, I was looking for a summer job. I ended up getting one at a call center, but I was like taking my CV around to all of these places, these temp agencies, you know, saying I can do data entry for 3 months, blah blah blah, please give me a job. And I was sitting there waiting to be seen by one of the people there. And this guy comes in, short dude, wearing, he had this like jacket, but it was kind of like a multi-striped jacket. Like it had like blocked areas of color. It was blue, but with like red shoulders and like red arms, but like blue lower half. And he was wearing a red cap, like a red little, but not like a baseball hat, like a flat red cap. And he was short, and he had like red and blue. I was like, the first thing I looked at him, I was like, immediately, I was like, this looks like Mario. He looks like he's dressed up as Mario. He clearly wasn't. It was just his normal attire. It was like an anorak, red and blue anorak, and a hat that was like vaguely looked like Mario's hat. It was bright red. Anyway, he walks into this temp agency where I'm waiting for a meeting, and this woman calls out, this receptionist goes, "Ah, Mario, thanks. Come around the back. We'll come around the back. We're waiting for you." Like he had a meeting there, and his name was Mario. He looked like maybe he could have been Italian. I guess he was. He was called Mario. But the fact that he looked so much like Mario, and before she said anything, I thought, that fucking guy looks like Mario. And this lady calls out, "Ah, Mario, good to see you. Come on here, or we've got your papers for you, or whatever." And I was sat there, and I just sort of, I really had to stop myself from laughing. It was very funny. You have to trust me, it was very, very funny. Terranium says, "What is a fair rate to pay animators, in-betweeners, or other assistants? One of my projects is kind of exploding out of control, and I'm curious about getting paid help for it." I have no idea, dude. This would be, if anybody can answer Terranium's question, I would be interested in the answer, because the other day on the Discord, and I'm sorry, the Discord is an exclusive club for folks who support me on Patreon. We should probably drop the cost of it. I think it's too high, and we can get more people on that way, the Discord. But anyway, we were talking about the rates that Japanese animators earn working in anime studios, and how surprisingly low the rates are. Like, it's no secret that 9 to 5 anime, they don't work 9 to 5, they probably work longer hours than that, but jobbing animators in Japan tend not to earn an amazing wage. That's putting it lightly. They tend to earn terrible wages. And I was surprised at some of the rates people were quoting in the conversation on Discord. I mean, it was low. And I would be honestly eager to hear what is a more general accepted sort of wage for that. But I mean, I don't know, because I don't hire that many animators. When I do, I probably don't pay. Like, I think I've overpaid. I definitely think I've overpaid. I'm sure I've underpaid as well. So I can't be a very good barometer for what's actually a good amount, because I've been paid for animation before, and I've been overpaid and I've been underpaid. I've done stuff that I should have been paid a lot more for, and I've done stuff I should have been paid probably less for, in terms of what they actually got, and how on time was it, and was it very good, so I really don't know. Sorry, Terranium. I've answered your question as well as I can by repeating the words "I don't know" 18 times. $1 per frame. Sounds good. Tamara, I like your point about asking for free help, but you gotta pay people. I think if you're making money, you gotta pay people. I make money when I make animations, so to put an animation out there that I profit from and then not pay those people, but you want to pay them fairly too. It's also, there's like a political side to it too. If I underpay people and it's, out there in the ether that I paid poorly, like, it's gonna haunt me for years. I don't want to sound purely selfless here. I'm also selfishly thinking about my own reputation. You don't want to underpay people, because it gets out, and it's like, that's bad. So the reason I don't do more of that is because it's just it's not in my budget right now to pay people, for really much of anything, other than occasionally, very occasionally. I'm not like doing a regular thing at the moment where I can afford to like give an animator, a wage. My power, my pleasure, my pain. Ooh yeah. The more I think about it, and did you know that when it snows, my eyes become white as the light that you shine can be seen, baby. My tears from the road on the grave. Ooh, da 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 da. Talking about ASDF as being an example of an animator being underpaid. Yeah, okay, but to be fair, I don't think that you should pay an animator based on how much the animation's gonna make, unless that's part of the contract. Like, if something goes on to be successful, I don't think you need to. This goes for beyond animation. Like, if you hire, let's say you hire a guy to write music for your movie, and you say you're going to give him £10,000. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of money for me. I wouldn't pay someone £10,000. I couldn't. But let's say you did, and your movie goes on to be an indie hit. It's like a Blair Witch Project. It makes tons and tons of money. Well, you didn't agree to pay. If you didn't agree to give the guy a royalty or a percentage of the gross of the movie, then I don't think you necessarily need to. You may want to. I would at least suggest giving the guy maybe a phone call and asking him out to dinner, maybe buying him, you know, if you literally are making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from something, I think you should be generous to people, or at least offer to bring him back in the future if you're going to do another one, and then pay a better rate at that point. But just because something's successful, I don't think you need to take your money, like, you know, unless you've agreed to pay a royalty up front. You don't need to be a Samaritan about it. That's capitalist Harry there speaking. We need Don Neff. You're too sweet, Don. Thank you very much. I will not regale you with any more of my terrible singing today. You've all had enough. Also, there's backing music in the video, isn't there? There's the backing track that I'm probably out of key with. I can't hear it, but I don't think it's good for me to necessarily sing against that key. Harry says, Asa Banipal. Harry, do you think 2012 was the death sentence for animators on YouTube? No. No, of course it wasn't. I'm still here. Look at all the people that are doing storytime stuff, that are making, you know, money hand over fist. They're making, you know, Wilson Fisk running New York City styles amounts of money. They didn't get killed. Granted, it's a different kind of content. It's not full animation, but you know, things change and it gives rise, like evolution, you know, a meteorite hits and then the thing, you know, like the apex predator dies out, and then the weird little shrimp thing turns into the new predator because it's better suited to, you know, to exist in the Chernobyl environment of the future. Things change, people evolve, you know, they adapt. I guess adapt is a better word. They adapt to their new surroundings, and animation continues on YouTube. Now, granted, I don't make much animation. I only make 1 or 2 things a year. But I'm still, you know, my biggest platform remains YouTube. And if I didn't have anybody watching me on YouTube, I wouldn't have been able to raise awareness about my Patreon. So, you know, YouTube's been very, very good to me. I know it you know, has a lot of problems, YouTube, but there's no doubt that, like, I have been able to I've been able to succeed past 2012. Is it difficult now to get started post, you know, 2020 as an animator with all these people on YouTube? I'm sure it's difficult to get started, but I think it's probably doable. I think that consistency is the biggest key. I think that's why I don't do better. It's because I don't make anything. I make 1 cartoon a year, and people go, okay, well, nice, but when's the next one? You know, what have you done for me lately, kind of thing? Where's the next one? But if you can adapt to that model and you can make lots of content and make it regular, yes, the animation will probably be less fully fleshed out, less, you know, gorgeous maybe, it's doable, I think. So no, I think it's too easy to say that things are like doom and gloom for animators on YouTube. I think that people can still make it work, and since 2012, animation channels have rose that have made it work. So I think you can do it, you can do it. Make a dress for Cinderella. You can do it. Wait, Mool, is that true that the animator of the first ASDF got £30? That may be very contextual. That figure, that may have been, you know, I think it was maybe One Chop. I forget who animated the first one. Maybe he did it as a favor. You know, maybe that figure is completely made up. That may not be true. That may not be true. So. Yeah. Well, there you go. Gregor says he was reimbursed later on, so that's a good ending to the story. And that's a nice thing to do if you're not obliged to do it. I mean, it's different if you say to someone, you know, if this makes it big, I'm going to help you out, buddy. You know, I'm going to give you a slice of the back end. But if you don't do that, if you agree that you're going to pay somebody a one-time fee, and then to reimburse them anyway, that's a nice thing to do, I think. You've already won me over, in spite of me. Don't be alarmed if I fall head over heels. I couldn't help it, it's all your fault. Alanis Morissette, baby. This is I can't have copyright protected music on my live streams, but dang it, I can sing it. I can sing it all I want. Oh boy. You're gonna be a star, kid. Ah, see? Just sit down on my couch there and lift up your shirt, kid. Yeah. Oh boy. Alright. Alright. Is that a frame done? Okay, minus color separate. No, the mouth. The mouth, baby. The mouth needs some work. I couldn't help it. It's all your fault. All right, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the color separation on this bad boy. How long have I been streaming for? Let's see. How do I see? Where is number of streaming minutes, please? My name is Alan Jones, and I'm calling you to tell you... This is not a very politically correct accent. I don't know why I slipped into that. I've been listening to those scammer videos lately where the guys, you know, talking to scammers in India. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I can't see how long I've been streaming for. I'm guessing an hour at least. But I'm gonna finish this guy and then probably take a break. But for 2 minutes, I'm just gonna grab a glass of water, run back up, and get back to it, I think. Because we got more of this to do, you know. I do think I could probably do. This is what, the 11th frame. Yeah, the 11th frame. I still want to get to 15 before we call this thing done. No, well, call the stream done. Harry, do you know Flash Kids? I do know Flash Kids. I worked with them recently. I did. If you watch their last Space Marine cartoon, the one that has Sonic the Hedgehog in it, I drew basically all the Space Marines for that cartoon. Now, granted, I drew them, and then Don of the Flash Skits came in with his big muscly drawing arm, and he made them look better. He did a couple of redraws on some of them, but I'd say about 90% of the Space Marines in that cartoon were drawn by me. Because at the beginning of the year, I needed some money. And I was willing to do that. You know, sometimes, even though I run a Patreon, it's not at the level where it supports me 100%. So occasionally I got to do some stuff for pay to get by. But I think, honestly, when this cartoon comes out, I think it'll be a good boost to the Patreon, and I think that could be a really good thing. One thing I can actually say, I should have mentioned this already, is that the Patreon, the $5 level on the Patreon, I'm going to produce some comics that will be exclusive, digitally exclusive. I may sell them in, you know, paper form down the line. There are no plans to do that, but I want to in June, release the first exclusive Patreon digital comic, and I'll pimp it out and let people know at the time. I won't just drop it on there and forget about it. But I think that's going to be a nice way to give people content on the Patreon that are not, you know, not just behind the scenes things or commentaries or stuff that's kind of boring. Actual stories and jokes, you know, that are new and fresh. So that's the joke. That's the joke? It's not a joke, it's serious. That's the idea. That's what I meant to say. Oh, brother. Harry, do you know if there's a way of using custom brushes in Toon Boom? Jabbertoons, there probably is, but I'm using the cheap version of Toon Boom. I'm using Essentials, which is the cheapest version you can buy, and it has very little in terms of options in there, so I've not looked into it. I know there are more brush options in the Prime, was it Toon Boom? It's Harmony Essentials, Harmony Premium, and Harmony Advanced? Or is it Harmony Advanced, Harmony Premium? I think it's that way. I'm sure at the top level of Harmony Advanced, you can make your own brushes. If you have a question about that, I'll tell you who you should talk to. An official Toon Boom ambassador that I'm friendly with, called Ollie Putland. Ollie, O-L-I, Putland, P-U-T-L-A-N-D. Find him on Twitter and ask him a question. He is an official ambassador. He's actually somebody that is meant to answer questions and, you know, not push Toon Boom like he's selling it out of a suitcase in an alleyway, but he's you know, he's under their employ to let people know the advantages to Toon Boom. So I'm sure if there's a way to do it, he will be happy to answer that question for you. And he's a nice guy too. He's a very nice guy, very good animator. Terrible cheat at poker. No, he's not. I've never played him at poker. I don't know how poker works. In fact, I have never once understood a poker scene in a movie. You know when you're watching a movie like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels or James Bond or whatever, and somebody, you know, the bad guy, like, or the good guy, like, puts down his cards, and then the bad guy puts down his cards, and it's like, no! Never understood what the hell was going on. To me, it's just a bunch of cards. Don't understand any card games other than, you know, Snap or Go Fish, maybe. But whenever somebody puts down their poker hand, I'm like, I don't get it. I guess something happened in the story. I guess he lost money, and it's a big deal, but I think that if I ever make a James Bond parody, I want them to play Pogs. I think that would be really funny. It's like James Bond whips out his, you know, chrome-plated Pogs Series 2 slammer, and then Lachief or whoever he's playing against is like, no! He's got one of those! And Lachief only has a plastic razor blade shaped slammer. I'm going to turn off the AC. It's getting a bit chilly up in here. Oh boy. Do you have any thoughts on Krita, Harry? Oh, Krita or Krita. That's the animation software that's more like Photoshop, right? Am I right in thinking that? So I don't have any opinion on it because I've never used it, but I've technically worked. I've worked on a cartoon. I've animated on a cartoon that has used it, and it was the second OKKO cartoon I worked on, where it's called something like Enid's Bad Day. Just whacked the microphone arm there. Enid's Bad Day, used it, and they took animation that I did for some shots, and they kind of traced over it. Like, they did cleanup in Krita. I don't know what I don't know how you pronounce it. And it looked great. It looked really, really great. But in terms of how it is to work with, I can't vouch for it or not, because I just don't have any experience of it. But I'm sure that if people are using it and they're getting good results, it has some level of usability that, you know, you could probably wrap your head around. So I'd go for it, you know? Why not? Go for it. Okay. Hold me, thrill me, kiss me, kill me, dun 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 dun. Okay, well there we go. There's the color separation on that bad boy done. I mean, look, if I play this back, it's gonna look like nothing, because we're just this is nothing yet, because that's going to be slowed out. Probably another 50% of that speed is going to be reduced. It's going to be reduced by another 50%, I mean. So we're going to do 1, 2. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to take a very quick break, and I'll be right back. Just gonna grab a water and use the little boy's room, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, guys, speak to you in a moment. Bye bye. Hey, I'm back. Terranium says, Harry Partridge, can you manipulate vectors in Toon Boom or animate? I do that in CSP. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, big time you can do that. I don't ever tend to do that. I just redraw the line, but yeah, you can do that for sure. I'm getting beat, man. I'm getting tired. It's the standing desk, I swear. It's like at the end of using a standing desk all day, it feels like you've actually been working retail, or, you know, or something that's a bit more standing up based. That's what I'm getting at. You know what I mean. But yes, as you can see, I'm standing. Hi guys!
got no chair to sit on my butt on, just get real fat on, to never use my legs with.
That would be the Pinocchio song. I've got no chair. I do have a chair, it's over there, but there we go. Tamagotchi, thank you for coming by. You are not too late. Harry, did you ever really leave the 90s, or are you stuck in a perpetual time loop? Leave the 90s? I haven't entered the 90s yet. Okay, I got the Space Jam shirt on, but I'm happy to stay in 1989, personally speaking. I like it there. No, I did leave the 90s. I don't think I'm past 2004. I think that's my cutoff date. It's generally when things start to kind of, frustrate me a bit. Maybe that's too early. Maybe 2000. Things started going well beyond my. Yeah, I think things started going badly in 2011. I'd say, not for me. My life's been pretty good since then. Actually, it's been really good since then. But pop culture in general has started boring me, I think, around 2011. I can't help it. It's a purely reactionary thing that's just there. But I've not been very excited about a lot of new movies and films. But a big part of that is that then my career was sort of starting to take shape, and the time that I had to go out and discover new things greatly diminished. And that happens when you're spending all the time that you have working. You don't really have time to go out and take risks in terms of what you're enjoying, and that's not a good thing. I think that you should take risks. So I'm not touting this as a good mindset to have, but I think it's just a sort of a slight inevitability that when you have limited time, you start to get stuck in the past, because you start to take less chances, or fewer chances. You start to go, look, I know what I like from my time growing up. That's the stuff I'll continue to explore and look at. I don't know if I want to go and just take a chance on a new movie. I remember in 2004, I pretty much went to see every single movie that came out that year. I saw them all. I saw The Terminal. I have a very good knowledge of movies that came out in 2004. The Terminal, the first Garfield movie, Collateral, all these weird, goofy movies. I wouldn't do that now. I had a period of trying to do that around 2015, 2016, but it was tough, man. And I think, the older you get, you just have less time for the new, which is a shame, because you'd stay fresh if you possibly can. Hey, Tamagotchi, thank you very much for the super chat. Next week, I can resume my Patreon-age. Missed you. Oh, thank you very much, Tamagotchi, but honestly, dude, you haven't missed anything. I'll be honest with you. Why don't you wait until this cartoon comes out? If you want to do it then. Or until sometime in June, when we're going to make Patreon exclusive Starbarians comics. We're going to put one out sometime in June, and I think that would be something that maybe you would like to see. So if you want to enjoy the Patreon exclusive comics, you could maybe save your money until then. And I've been treated extremely generously and very, very nicely by people on Patreon who have shown me such generosity and patience. A lot of patience, considering that I have not put out a cartoon since August. So very, very thankful to those people. And what I don't want those folks to do is to spend their money, in a way they would regret. So I don't want to, I don't want you to feel you need to jump back in until maybe you see some new stuff coming out that you can enjoy. Hey. What is your opinion on sprite animation? What's my opinion on it? I mean, I like it. I think it's very good at sort of boiling things down, especially if you look at old games. You look at something like Street Fighter 2, they had to communicate, they had to sell the weight of of what was happening on screen with very few drawings, because they just didn't have the room for it. Now, you can have 100 frames for one punch or something. If it's a 60 FPS game, you can have hundreds of frames for like one animation. You can put the weight, you can put the recoil, the overlap, all that stuff. You can put it in there. But when you have 2 frames of animation that you've got to use to get over, like, this is a kick, this is a punch, and it has to also react immediately to the player's input. It's not like you can hit you know, the A button, and you see the guy wind up for the punch. Games that try and do that, if you notice, like old 16-bit games with really fluid animation, they're usually not very good to play because it has like, you know, anticipation and reaction, and it's like, it's too much. Just, I want like 2 frames for a punch. Just put that in there so I feel like I'm immediately getting that visceral feedback of hitting the button and seeing the punch, not hitting the button and seeing like this character wind up for the attack or whatever. So I think that good sprite animation is not just about making it pretty, but also kind of shoving all of that weight into a very limited amount of frames. I respect that greatly, so yeah. This is like, I've kind of fucked this up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Sort of not done a good job on this section. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's still 7 there. Why is it looking bad? I think it's because I flipped the shape there. There we go. Whew. I'm trying to unscramble my own frames here. BG Sam asks if I finished the Xena show. No, last Xena episode I watched was over Christmas, man. It was the Christmas episode where they meet Santa. It was great. It was really great. Well, thank you again, Tamagotchi. I really appreciate the support. Davy88 says, Harry, is there an estimated date on this cartoon? Yes, there is. There is. But my estimations are like not accurate ever. But there is an estimation. And I estimate it as being the 12th of June. Should have been out way before that, boy. But I estimate the 12th of June. And the reason I estimate the 12th of June is because I'm hiring somebody to do sound on this cartoon. A guy who's going to be designing sound effects, laying in sound effects, mixing sound effects and music and voice acting. It's a big job. He's not, you know, creating all the voices and the music, but he's going to be, you know, laying it all down, basically making it sound as good as possible. And he has studio time to actually record new sound effects. You know, if we're going to need somebody, for example, there's a scene where like a can like gets fired from a slingshot. You know, maybe we could find that sound effect online, maybe, but he's going to probably go in with something that sort of sounds like a slingshot, like some elastic, and get that sound of the stretch and the sound of the can throwing. And he's going to record all of that on the 7th of June. And today we were talking about how long it would take to mix after the 7th of June. That's pretty much locked. That it's going to be, I think, the week starting the 7th of June or the 7th of June. That's locked. So we talked about the 12th of June, the Friday, 12th of June, being likely when it could be mixed by, in which case it will be done. We don't need to do anything else to it. So I think 12th of June is realistic for a release date. If not, maybe the week after, because I would like to release on a Friday or Saturday. But maybe it could be the 13th of June if we missed the Friday. So yeah, it's taken a long time, but it will be out eventually. And maybe I'm off, you know, maybe something's going to happen and we won't make it for some reason. But you know what? When this comes out and when this happens, I'm going to work on some stuff that I know I can complete in a faster turnaround. It's not going to be 2021 when I release my next cartoon after this. It will be 2020. I hope it will be the summer of 2020 and not the autumn of 2020. We'll see. We'll see. I'm very thankful to your patience. Is there a good library for sound effects you've used or paid for? One of the best ones I ever paid for was part of the Action Essentials library that they, what are they called? Video Copilot do. Video Copilot are basically specialists in tutorials for After Effects. So if you want to, you know, do a convincing explosion or you know, face manipulation, green screen removal, whatever in After Effects, the Video Copilot website is great for that. But they did a bunch of visual elements, basically, you can comp into visual effects, like blood hits and explosions and that kind of stuff. They sold that, and I bought that years ago thinking I'd use it. I never really used it very much. But on that disc were tons of sound effects. And I've used the sound effects, which I didn't even know I was getting when I bought the disc. I've used the sound effects way more than I've used the visual effects. And it's not really, like, the thing that I really like about it is they're mostly not sounds like, you know, make sense, like a door opening or a car tire squealing or something like that. It's instead all abstract sound, like whooshes, or like, you know, it's like whoosh, whoosh, like stuff like that. You can't really tell what it is. You're like, what is that? What is that? Is that a motorbike? Is that a plane? It's something. Not even that particular, but I've used them like tons when I'm doing graphics, you know, like in Starbarians, when the logo flies at you at the start and it goes da 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 da, all that sound, that all like shing, whoosh, 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 all of that is from their library. And same like in Dogtooth, you know, when Dogtooth like jumps at the screen at one moment, you know, what does a jump sound like? Well, you can get a sound of footsteps or a jacket like blowing or something, like, you know, jacket rustling around, but you really just want like whoosh, you know, which, you know, jumps don't really sound like that. Maybe if you jumped right into a microphone, it maybe would sound like that, but that sort of abstract noise is really useful in sound design, and I love that kind of stuff. So I would suggest, if Video Copilot are selling sound effects, they could be a good resource to look at. But then all your cartoons would sound like mine. It would be terrible. Hollow Cathead, you didn't disappoint me. I'm not even sure what you're talking about, but you're good. Harry Ashfield says, what's the difference between the 3 colored layers, as in the black, red, and green? Yeah, well, black is what we're working on currently, only because the pen is black. If the pen was blue, it would be blue. But the red and the green is to denote the previous frame. Like, see here, like this line right here. Okay? That's that one, the red. The green is the frame afterwards. So the previous frame is red, the next one is green, and that's consistent. You can set in versions of Toon Boom, not this one, this is the cheap poor guy's version. You can set it so that you can say, like, I don't want it red and green, I want it blue, or I want them both the same, or whatever. You know, you can set it to be whatever color you want. But it's to remind you which is the before and which is the after frame. So it's pretty simple. Man, I got an itchy nose. I don't want you to see me picking it. Let's go down here. Ah, it's itching up there. It is. It's not a line of coke that I just went and did under the table, I guarantee. Ah, okay. Yeah, the process, Harry Ashfield, it's sort of keyframes followed by in-betweens. That's typically how I do it. But with this one, it's really just, I animated the action kind of in real time, and because it's slow-mo, I'm just going in and adding in lots and lots of frames to get it to look slow-mo, because of course the more frames you have, the slower the action's going to be. So I kind of animated it normally, not really keys, just sort of a beginning and middle and then end frames. And then I'm just going in and just doing a ton of frames. And it may not look brilliant when it's done, but it'll look good enough. It's one of those things where I was talking earlier about, you know, the importance of placing importance on certain shots. I think this is I'll get the idea across relatively easily without the animation needing to be gorgeous here, because we're going to have foreground elements. It's going going to be like a spinning background and stuff sort of flying, like lots of slobber added on top. I'll animate additional slobber flying past. So I think it'll all come together pretty good. Okay. Alrighty. Starting to lose track of all these lines here, but something like that. It's like, you know, it's sort of like animating Bart Simpson or someone. You know, imagine he's got 9 spikes on his head. If you do the occasional frame where he has 8 or 10, no one's gonna care. As long as it's moving and you can, you know, the movement reads and everything, it's okay if you have a couple of frames where it's crappy. You know, not crappy, but it's off by a certain amount. And I've lost how many of these gums he has and how many gum wrinkles are in every frame. I'm sure some frames are going to drop a couple of wrinkles or add them in accidentally. And I think as long as you can see the gums in general, and they seem to be roughly in the same place, then I think it'll be okay. So, Harry, how do people animate for lots of hours? Are there any tips for animators struggling to keep animating for a long time? Stay hydrated. Gosh, dude, unfortunately, I think the answer is discipline, which is a boring answer, and I'm sorry to give it to you. Discipline, and you got to understand that discomfort is very vital to success. It sucks, but I can't think of anything in life that like gets you really good desirable results. It's also fun to do. Other than, you know, maybe I was gonna say maybe video gaming, but other than you know, if you consider enjoyment a result, then there are lots of things like, you know, you can eat a really good cake and that's enjoyable, and you know that's all you were looking for from that interaction. But I mean, in terms of like, I want a successful end state here, and I want to really achieve something that's rare. It's like everything that gets that is a pain in the butt. You know, if you want to go to the gym and get like an amazing six-pack or something, it's not going to really be fun. It's going to be lots of sweating and dieting and being hungry and being tired and maybe, you know, straining hard. It's not going to be fun. Animation is not really that fun. And I think people probably think because I do it, I must like it. I don't really like it. I really, really like the end result. So if you're in love with the idea of the end result, if you can visualize yourself having finished the animation and going, yes, I did it, and it's cool, and people are out there watching it and they like it. If you can keep that vision in your head and keep working, you will be bolstered by that. You will be strengthened by that, and you can put up with the absolute grind and the absolute pain in the butt that is sitting or standing like moi for hours and hours on end and drawing the same stupid characters and their stupid faces and their stupid design decisions that you made. Like, I'm gonna have a character with 1,000,000 teeth. That's what I'm gonna do, you know. Or I'm gonna have a character that's... I've animated some stupidly detailed characters before and it's a pain in the butt. All I'm saying is there maybe isn't an easy way to do it. You just have to discipline yourself. It's funny, like, a lot of people will be able to do that with certain things. I don't understand people that play video games on expert mode, because I play video games to have fun. I'll even put on a cheat because I just want to win. I just want to win and see all the special moves and see the cutscene, and then I'm done, because I feel I have enough challenge in other areas of my life that when I sit down to play a video game, I don't care particularly to be challenged. There are some people that really want the challenge. They want things to be as hard as possible because their achievement is then beating that. that game. It's the bragging rights that come with it. It's the achievements and stuff they can, put on their profile. If you can kind of hack into that sentimentality about your animation or your creative projects, then that's a really good tool. If you can be like, I'm gonna be a hardcore gamer doing it on hard mode, I'm gonna play for 20 hours straight, or I'm gonna do the speed run, I'm gonna achieve all this stuff. If you can get into that mindset, but about your creative goals, in the same way that like a hardcore gamer would get into that about their speed run or their, legendary difficulty mode run or whatever, if you can get into that, that's a really, really vital, useful way that you can get stuff done. Just accept the challenge. It's going to be a challenge and it's going to be brutal, but accept that you're enough of a hardcore motherfucker that you're going to get it done. Go out and do that, and then boast about it and show off and let everyone see the amazing work you've done. That's my advice. So it's not easy. There's not a way you can make it easy, but accept that it's difficult and just be a hard ass and a badass, and get your chewing tobacco and your anchor tattoo on your arm and crush a beer can on your forehead and just get it done. That's not in the animated survival kit. The bit about Richard Williams using speedrunning analogies for animating. How long will you be streaming? Asks Stabby88. I don't know, man. I'm getting pretty tired. It's probably because I'm standing too. I'm ready to sit on the couch and eat. Although Joyce wants us to diet tonight and be good and not get like naughty food, so probably gonna toe the line there. Let me see. We got 10, 11, 12. I said I'd do 15 frames. I'd definitely do 13. I'm probably calling it at 13. Maybe I can get to 15. But I don't know, another 45 minutes maybe? Well, Ashos, man, I'm glad that you liked my answer. It's that thing about when people say, how do you get good at something? And their answer is, well, practice. Most people hate that answer because they want to, they go, yeah, I know, but how do I sit down and practice? How do I do that? How do I make myself want to do that? If you are motivated to achieving the end state, then you can do it. But it's how do I motivate myself? And there's no easy way to motivate yourself other than to say, well, I've already given my answer. You have to get into the mindset of, this is a big, awesome job. It's going to be hard and it's going to be miserable at times, but I'm going to do it. And it will be miserable at times. There are going to be times where you just do not want to do it anymore. And sometimes you can do that. Jocko Willink. If you listen to Jocko Willink, he's like an ex-Navy SEAL guy, but he has some amazing advice that you can really apply to tons of... I can apply it to animating, which is, gives you an example of how versatile his advice is, but he talks about procrastination and how you shouldn't procrastinate. That if you want to get something done, you should always start as soon as possible. You shouldn't say, I'm going to start tomorrow, or I'll pick it up tomorrow, or I'll put it off till tomorrow. You shouldn't do that. Unless, and this is the one thing you can procrastinate on as much as you like, you want to take a day off. Sometimes you really, really, really do need a day off. We all do it from time to time, and there's no shame in that. But if you can, just procrastinate on that day off. The same way you procrastinate on the job that needs doing. I need to animate that opening scene of my short film. I'll do it next week. I'll do it the week after. I'll do it the week after. Imagine you could flip it and make it so that you're working on your animation all the time, and then the day where you're gonna sit on the couch all day and eat crisps like me and watch bad 90s movies, imagine you could put off that and go, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that next week. I need it, I want to do it, but I'll put it off for another month. I'll do it next month, I'll do it 3 months. Imagine you could do that. That would be an awesome mental switch to flip, so try that one. Try that one on for size. Animator punks. How did the Kilgarians... Nice Starbarian's lore question. How did the Kilgarians go extinct, and why is Kilgar named after his own people? Or are they... Or all of them named that? So, Ethan, I always feel like it's lame to go into Starbarian's lore Like, I should just make a cartoon, right? I should just put it in a cartoon rather than say, well, actually, blah, 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 in the Kilgarian Codex of 1806. Like, I should just give you a cartoon that answers that. But I can answer that. Kilgar was not named. He was not named. And he was just called by Hoagstrong the Kilgarian, because he didn't have a name. The reason he wasn't named is because he was not accepted by the Kilgarian society. So, like, the same way that I'm Harry the Human, but I'm Harry, maybe if I didn't ever receive a name and some alien race found me, they may just call me the Human. But he got sick of calling him Kilgarian, so he just called him Kilgar for short. But he's technically Kilgar the Kilgarian. Why didn't he get named? That's something I won't go into now, but it's you can maybe start to get an idea if you watch Kilgar's Code episode 1 and Kilgar's Code whenever the next one comes out, which is animated, the Christmas one that I couldn't quite finish in time for Christmas, but I'm going to put it out this Christmas because it's pretty much all done. That gives you more of an idea of sort of Kilgar's shortcomings, I guess, that his race would not look kindly upon. So the real question is, if Kilgar is so invulnerable and the Kilgarians are so invincible, why is he the last one? People think I haven't thought about that. I have 100% thought about that, and I have a very good answer for it. But again, it's that thing of, like, it's lame. I should just make a cartoon. I can't just stand here and talk about it, because then it'll never happen. So okay, but I appreciate the Starbarian's lore question. It's like, that's cool. It's very nice to be asked. Tickles my, I don't know what I was going to say. It warms my heart, I guess. Not tickles my heart. That sounds medically dangerous. Mool says, do you agree it was a mistake? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Mool. Well, thank you, Ethan. I appreciate your support. Okay, so I had a question from somebody earlier on. Egbert says, I've been trying to get into animation for years, but I lack creativity to make my own stuff, but I finally found a project I can apply myself to. Oh, okay, not a question, but a good, feel-good story. Well, I'm glad, Egbert. I'm glad that you found something else. So I'm not really like that. I like to come up with my own characters and stories. If I can help it, I don't really like working on other people's stuff unless I have a lot of creative control, but hiccup, and maybe a belch mixed in. If you have found a project that you can apply yourself to, that's fantastic. I mean, a lot of animators working in the industry are not working on things that they themselves have dreamt up. Of course, there's tons of their creativity that they can pump into it. So, for example, if you're working on a Looney Tunes cartoon with, like, the Roadrunner, you can storyboard a cartoon and have it be completely your idea and fantastic and original and stuff, but you're still playing in the sandpit of the Warner Brothers characters that have been around for decades. So you may be able to do that if you go into the industry. You can, be a storyboard artist, or you could be an animator that's creatively embellishing either on other people's ideas for stories or creating new stories with old characters. So there's there's plenty of room out there for animators that are talented but not necessarily creating their own characters. So maybe that would be a good fit for you. Oh boy. Okay, so we're nearly done. Man, my nose, I don't know why my nose is going crazy. I think it maybe is allergies, but I don't know. I've got to stop talking about it. A gentleman, I was watching Batman and Robin the other night, and when Alfred goes to Batman, he's like, a gentleman should never speak about his ailments. I thought, damn, that makes me feel guilty as hell. I'm always moaning about my ailments. I mean, my dad is the worst. Every time I call my dad, I'm like, hey, what's up, Dad? And he goes, oh, it's just my back and my this and my that. So I gotta learn some lessons from Alfred there, my other dad, Alfred, and complain less of my ailments. But Alfred never encountered an itchy nose on this level. What do you think about Netflix's part in the future of animation, the good and potential bad? Gosh, Dreaming Cayman, I don't know if there's anything specific to Netflix that I couldn't say about any major TV network of the past or any major movie studio. Like, my gripes with Netflix, if I have any, and I suppose I probably do on some level, is not a gripe that is not... It's not like it's different to Disney, you know? Granted, Netflix makes more adult stuff than Disney, but it's not like their money-making goals or their business practices are any shadier or less shady than any big, you know, media entertainment corporation. So I don't think Netflix... Maybe you mean more like how I think they'll change the industry, but no differently to Disney Plus. I think that streaming services in general are going to eat away at the financial take of theaters, so I think there'll be less distribution through theaters. I think that may unfortunately go the way of the dodo. But I don't think that they're doing anything particular that I can single out. Sorry, it's not a very good answer. Oh, okay. I think I may be on my last frame now. Meaning I've fallen a bit shy of doing an extra 10. But these take a while. And as I say, I'm standing, so I'm going to need to take a break after this. A good break, not like a 2-minute break I can come back from, but a break for a week. No, I'll come back eventually. But let me finish this old lumpy son of a gun off. Get this guy done. Turn on the AC because I'm getting hot. I'm preppy. That's AC Slater, and we'll get this guy done. Okay. And then we can all get on with our lives. Some say your nose. What's the ugliest part of your body? What's the ugliest part of your body? Some say your nose, some say your toes, but I think it's your mind. Ooh, I think it's your mind. Ooh. Good old Frank Zappa song. Hey, Hollow Cathead, thank you for coming by. Nacho Hamburg says, what happened to your chair? What? Where'd it go? I don't know, dude. My chair just went, man. It just grew legs and left. Grew extra legs. All right. Oh yeah, we gotta do this thing. I forgot what I was doing. Oh, who likes animating? Not me. I like having animated, baby. As the old saying goes. I like it at the end where you can sit back and go, ah, yeah, look what I did. It moves and it's kind of funny and vaguely offensive. Yeah. You just can't get that. Can't get that unless you put in all the work beforehand, which is always a big old pain in the butt. Big old pain in the coconut. All your children are poor. What's that song go? I don't know. Just half a line. I'm done. I'd love to see more how-tos from Harry, but in the form of Shot Blast, where he walks you through the process of something he has done. How-tos? I mean, a Shot Blast kind of is a how-to, right? Because you're seeing something I've done, and we're sort of solving that problem, that creative problem of how do we finish it with commentary. I feel like, in a way, Shot Blasts are sort of accidental how-tos, you know? Like, I'm not going to sit down and just go, this is how you do this, unless I find a good way of doing it. And maybe that could be Shot Blasts in the future. Maybe we could do, you know, have like one Shot Blast about how to animate hair. I don't know, how to animate water. But there's a lot of stuff I can't animate, you know? There's a lot of stuff, like, I gotta be careful you don't think I'm trying to be too, like, humble here, like an asshole, but I'm not very good at animating. That is the truth. And people are gonna go, what? It's being humble, Harry. No, I'm really not. Like, there's a lot of stuff I cannot do. I'm very lucky in that I get to spend a lot of time doing it because I have people that watch it. And so I get to stick a lot of in-betweens in and take forever to make stuff because I have a Patreon. But anybody, okay, not anybody, but a lot of people could do what I do. It just takes a lot of very obsessive attention to detail and a lot of time. But I can't animate certain things, like, don't ask me to draw a human body with really realistic anatomy. I can't do it. Don't ask me to animate water. You know, I can't do it. It looks like jelly whenever I animate water. I have to, you know, spend even longer trying to fix it. Don't ask me to animate a horse or a dog running. I can't do animals. If I have an animal in a shot, I've got to basically take a GIF from the internet and like look at each frame and just copy it. So there's a lot of stuff I can't do, and I feel like my interest is not in showing people stuff through tutorials. You know, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be an entertainer more so. And at the same time, I don't think I'm good enough to be teaching people stuff. I think that if you go out there and say, like, I'm going to show you how to do this. Granted, I did do the tutorial series, the how-tos. It's kind of because I was getting paid, not because I really wanted to do them. But when you go out there and sort of like stick your flag in the ground and say, I'm a teacher, I'm going to show you how to do it, I think you have to be really, really good. And I'm not really, really good. I can't, you know, I wouldn't have got a job as like a key animator at Disney back in the day. I can't animate most things. I can't animate realistically. I'm maybe good at doing some funny facial expressions, and I have the patience to sit through a lot of in-betweens. That's my skill as an animator, and hopefully I do funny voices and funny dialogue and stuff like that, you know? So Don Neff says, I think you're best at what only you can do, Harry. Thank you, Don Neff. Thank you for my positivity quote you would write on my safety you would write with a safety circle. Wait, hang on. What was the thing from the Simpsons episode? The circle of paper and the safety pencil. Yeah, I feel like you just gave me a gold star and a lollipop, but thank you. You guys, yeah. Nacho Hamburg says, how to animate a Snapper Chap. Yeah, I just do very specific how-tos that are only based on what I'm doing at any given moment. And that's kind of what I feel Shot Blast has done, in a way. But they were a lot of work, man. I didn't think they would be so much work, but to make sure that I was on camera explaining things as I go was, not on camera, but on mic explaining things. For some reason, I just was never happy with what I said, and I had to do a million takes. And a lot of the work was done by Gregor, who edited them together. But you know, that's something that has to be paid for. So there's an investment in there as well. Not necessarily in terms of man hours, but in the, you know, financially speaking. Okay. I'm really happy my phone is not gone throughout the entirety of this live stream. That's one thing you got to do with live streams. You got to make sure no one's going to call you. I mean, I could easily pick up the phone and say, hey, you know, let's speak another time, but you don't know how happy people may be that they're just, even if their voice gets picked up by the mic, that other people may hear it. So isn't SFX animation a specialist position? You're right, Beanlight. You're absolutely right. But it's sometimes I'm sure people would ask me to do that if I tried to do tutorial animation, and I wouldn't. But I'm sure people would say, how do you do this? And I'd be like, I don't know. How do you do fire? I don't know. Copy Adam Phillips's fire. That's what I would try and do. I'm okay at fire, actually. I can kind of do fire a bit, but I can't really do water. Stuff like wind? Actually, I don't think I've ever tried animating wind. It's not typically visible, so the effects of it are visible, like things flapping, like flags and branches and stuff. So that's doable. Okay. Oh man, we're nearly there on this one son of a gun. Yeah, I agree that Ed of Ed's World was a very hard worker, and he was very consistent in that he just kept on going. There wasn't a time he wasn't working on something, and that dirty rat going and dying like that was not cool. Trust me, when I see him next, he's gonna hear about it. I do miss him, and I would like to see, honestly, I would have really liked to have seen what he'd have gone on to, because I do think that somebody would have eventually said, hey, let's do an Eddsworld TV show or something, or an animated special, or I don't know. It's just, I think people would have taken notice on a big level, and I think he would have gone on to do something really special that way, or he would have, you know, just gone on to deliver a lot of online content. There's my phone. Give me a second. Hi, Dad. I'm live streaming right now. Can you call me back in literally half an hour? Okay, I'll speak to you then. Love you. Bye-bye. There we go. Yeah, so I think that Ed would have gone on to do some good stuff. Otherwise, he just probably would have continued to entertain people. But there we go. It was me going like, oh, my phone didn't ring the whole stream. There we do. There we do. That doesn't mean that. Sorry, I'm thinking and reading at the same time. There we go. There we do. Dad's streaming. Dad's streaming! I hope he's doing okay, actually. My dad's health is not, you know, I shouldn't talk about it, but it's not great. So, you know, whenever he calls me, it's important to pick up, make sure that the guy's doing okay, make sure that I don't gotta, you know, go do something, because when you get to my age, I'm 32, when you get to my age, your parents start to get to, you know, up there in the years, so you want to make sure. Yeah, space in a space. Yeah, that's my dad. That's what he did, or what he still kind of does. I know he's not like actively with them anymore, really, but they are still technically putting out remixes and sort of, you know, maybe something in the future. Maybe, I don't know. It's up to them. Okay. Oh, there's a foot crease I didn't draw. He didn't draw a little fatty foot crease. There we go. A fatty foot crease. It's very attractive. Women love a fat foot crease. Okay. Can we just please snip that off like that? Oh, by the way, I should save. Genius. Genius move. Harry, you gonna watch Scoob? I don't think I need to. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I do like watching Scooby-Doo stuff generally, but it didn't look like Scoob to me. It looked like a pretty shallow attempt at doing a cinematic universe. I didn't like that they, you know, made it a superhero thing. Like, that doesn't feel like how you should treat Scooby-Doo. The beginning of a Scooby-Doo franchise, or a Scooby-Doo centered franchise, shouldn't be superheroes. It should have been a straightforward mystery with a you know, classic kind of horror villain. I think would have been better. I'll see it eventually, but I don't think I'll see it in the next month. Is there anything you always do but don't really notice unless someone mentions it? For me, it's like I always use curved lines instead of straight. Oh boy. Things I do that I don't notice I do. That's a good question. I mean, there must be, but it ain't coming to mind. It's like I've fucked up hands before and people have noticed. Like, I didn't notice at the time until people pointed it out. There's a bit in Starbarians where Syad's hand is behind his back and it's upside down. If you put your hand behind your back, your thumb is facing up. But I put his hand behind his back with his thumb down. It looks fine. I swear it looks fine, but you know, I didn't notice until it was done later on. And people have noticed, people have pointed out that I put too many joints in thumbs. Like, your thumb has like 1, 2 joints, and I put like I put like 3 in. I've done stuff like that. One thing that really freaked me, and I don't freak me out, but it bothered me, was back when I did the Hitman cartoon all those years ago. There's a bit in that cartoon, and I was getting lots of the same comment. I can turn this off now. I was getting lots of the same comment, and I couldn't figure out what the fuck people were talking about. There was a bunch of comments going, why does the wife have 4 legs? And I was like, later on, like, whoa, you know, I'd read another comment. Why the fuck does she have 4 legs? Another couple of comments. Is it me or does the wife have 4 legs? And I was like, what are they talking about? I didn't draw, there's no frame of this entire cartoon where she has 4 legs. What are they talking about? But it's multiple people, so it makes you feel like, okay, something is for sure up. Eventually, I got it, and this is it. Okay, this is a shot in the cartoon where you see her legs from behind. She's got like these shapely, womanly legs. It's part of the joke, right? It's one leg like that. There's another leg like that. And I must have seen Roger Rabbit or something with old-timey sexy legs, because there's a bit where, okay, not sexy, but Roger Rabbit, when he's babysitting Baby Herman at the start and the mum walks past with her big legs, she has a seam down the back of her tights like this, okay, like that, right? And I drew that on the back of the tights, a seam. Sometimes tights have that, sometimes you may draw that, which I thought looked like tights with a seam. I didn't think anything of it. But I guess I used too thick of a line, and plenty of people thought I had given her 4 legs, which really was so not the point of the joke. The point of the joke was that it was a hot, good-looking lady, and really sabotaged by probably a bad character design choice, ultimately. Anyway, I gotta do this art and finish this off because it sounded like my puppy needed to talk to me, and like I say, older fella, gotta make sure I make time for him when he calls. So let me finish off this guy. If he, I mean, I told him half an hour, and we're good. We got enough time. But if he calls back, I will hop off the stream, unfortunately early, and you'll know why. But I don't think he'll call back before it's time because that would be very rude of him. Haha, Gregor Scott says it's weird the Snapper Jab doesn't have eyes. He just noticed. Yeah, that's That was kind of the point, although a lot of people commented that it looks like a squig. No, is it squig? I think it's a squig or, oh god, I forget. I think it's a squig from Games Workshop. I'm not a Games Workshop guy, so I'd not seen a squig before, but a lot of people commented on that, and it did bother me big time, because I don't want... The one thing you never want as an artist, and it does happen a lot, is that people, they see a similarity in your work to somebody else's work, and rather assume coincidence, they assume that you copied it, or they tell you that you copied it. So, for example, I once did a short film, actually, kind of related to this, a short live-action film that I never released. I never really finished it and got happy with it, so it never came out. But it had a character in it that stole people's voices so they couldn't scream, and then it would kill them. Like, actually took their voice, they couldn't speak, they were mute, and then it killed them. I had never seen it, but there's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode with that exact idea in it. I had never seen that episode, but since making my short film, I've learned about that episode. And I'm very thankful in a way that my film never came out, because if I had put it out, it would have looked like I'd copied something, and it was a pure coincidence. And it's sad. It is sad when that happens, because oftentimes if you're completely innocent of all wrongdoing, it's just coincidence, you still look like a bad guy, and it's a shame. But, you know, I have altered this character's design a bit because people were pointing out it looked like a slig. It used to be red. It is no longer red. I have corrected the color of the Snapperchap to be purple, which I grant is not very far from red. But I didn't want to make him green and blue. I tried it. The whole color palette of the film is very blue, and to make him also blue didn't gel with me at all. I thought it's got to be close enough to red that that it still pops and still sits nicely on the background. So I made it a sort of muddy purple, which is, you know, maybe it sounds like I've cocked to people's concerns, but I just don't like that feeling. I don't like being told that it's a rip-off or whatever, because it was not intended to be. But sometimes you just stumble across a design choice that, you know, or a whatever it is, a story point in your story or whatever, a lyric in your song, a melody that is similar to something else, and people let you know. And they don't tend to be that forgiving, unfortunately. Okay, well, I really should wrap this up, because like I say, I'm sure that phone's about to go. It's probably only been 10 minutes, but my dad, he's an enthusiastic chatter sometimes, so gotta make sure I free myself up in time. Okay, so there we have it. So we've got in a grand total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Nope, just 13. There we go. So that 13 frames is going to be doubled to create 26 frames, which is closer enough to the 36 that we can start to slow down at that point. We need 36 frames in total for the shot. I'm probably going to go in at the 26 point after I've slowed this down and added 1 frame. So it's actually going to be half speed. It's going to be more like this. We're going to go in, and when it's 26, add another 10, probably towards the beginning and the end, so we ease in and ease out. But the speed is going to be sort of more like this. You get it, right? It's a slow-mo thing, so it's, you know, going flying through the air. You get the point. It'll look cool. It'll look cool, and we'll see what happens, because I was going to say we'll work on that some other time, but we won't, because I'm going to work on it tonight, and I probably won't live stream for at least another couple of days. But it's been a while, and I like live streaming, and I will live stream again. I quite like doing it from the standing desk. I feel like, I don't know, I command a different energy. Feels good. But thank you so much to everyone that came by today. I was a rambling mess the whole time. I said things that didn't make any sense. I started singing and couldn't remember the lyrics. I made complete grammatical errors and sentences that just fizzled away. But you, some of you, sat through the whole damn thing. You poor people. Thank you for coming by. And thank you to my Patreon supporters who have been keeping me going for so long now. I've been doing, I've been animating on this thing now for a year and a half. I haven't put anything out till August of last year, since August of last year. But this thing is getting done. I think by the end of the month, the very beginning of June, I'll be wrapped completely. So, you'll hear from me again soon. The finished cartoon will be out soon enough, but I'm sure I'll be streaming again before that happens. And thank you. Have a great evening wherever you are in the world. Take care, guys. Goodbye.